read the statute, right, and you see that the law didn't change or nothing happened, then you probably got the understanding of the client's goal part like wrong. That's not the goal they had, right? So you always want to try to see what the point of the actual statute is, basically. And you get that normally from like a name, but sometimes it gets a little bit deeper. You guys don't have to worry about that for now. Just look at the name first. This part, I don't know why she added it. Confirming the statute is good law. You wouldn't have a way to confirm that at all. Even I don't have a way to confirm. Basically, you go online. Cornell Law is always a great source. They're going to tell you this is good law or it's bad law. But for now, the statute, you saw how he was showing you guys. Let me flip my screen. How do I do this? Okay. Right here, right? You see these things at the top? Where he was showing you guys today? Amended, passed, enrolled, right? That's basically what you want to look for, what they're trying to make you look for. Like, it didn't pass, didn't pass, right? You won't get this most of the time. There's no need for it, right? Because you're in law school, you're not actually making laws, right? You're just learning about them.
Right.
So basically, you won't need it until you start working. So I don't agree that she put that in there, but we ball. So then we get to the actual part, is reading, right? Scroll right here. And this is the actual reading part, which we said was number one, is reading the statute. So we'll start with actually reading. And if you guys have questions, just let me know. Technically, you're supposed to wait until the end, but obviously that's not going to work, right? If you have questions, just let me know. And if I'm going too fast, also let me know too. Okay. It's going to be the first time you start with a statute, right?
Right.
Probably you won't understand it immediately. No one does, right? So like when we started reading this statute right here, it starts, you don't have to worry about this part. It starts with this, the definition part, right? Which seems, like he was saying, you don't understand it. You're like, what are these definitions for? My advice to you guys is these are all important and they always will be. Oh, if you're taking notes, start out with this. But like put it in a separate section like definition or something like that. It's not gonna be important as like in your outline or anything like that, but it's important to understanding what the law means, right? So like you took the example today of, where was it? Special populations, right?
Right.
The law down here, where's section F? A facility shall not place a person in segregated confinement, blah, blah, blah. This is blocking it on my screen, but not this one. God damn it. What do I do with this? We're gonna hide that. There we go. Is that not hidden on that? Gotta love technology. Sorry about that. A facility shall not involuntarily place an individual in segregated confinement, including for disciplinary reasons, if the individual belongs to a special population. Right? We did that in class. You won't know what you think you know what that means, right? Facility. This is where you should start from the beginning of every. If you think like maybe it can mean something else, stop right there. Try to look in the definition part and see if there's a definition. So if you see a facility, right? What do you think facility means? Everybody.
Basically just
A building or a
an
place
institutional building.
that has structure and
Solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement. Okay, so you think it's jail. It's something to do with jail, right?
Yes.
That's what you think. Do you guys think that word facility is in the definitions? Or not? Do you think it's something easy people can like kind of comprehend, or do you think it's something important that you should probably have in the definitions of the statute?
No, people come
You don't think it's going to be in the statute?
I think
Go ahead.
You think it's going to be in the statute? I'm just asking you guys.
No, I don't think
You don't think it's going to be? You don't think? Oh, well,
People can comprehend because it's linked to the statute.
it's linked to the statute. What about you?
But I also think you might have to ask like what type of facility.
yes,
Okay.
you gotta be
Yeah.
specific.
So you do want to be as accurate as possible. So let's see who's right. Oh well, look at number one. It's a facility, right? You see, so a lot of what reading statutes different than cases, because cases usually is going to be like legal jargon. You're going to search up like black law. They're going to use big words. They're judges. They get to do that, right? Statutes are different. Every word probably means something important. connection is unstable. Sorry. Facility means any of the, because this is a California statute, remember that. So this is only going to apply to California. So a facility means a private detention facility. Jails and prisons, detention, and facilities in which individuals are subject to confinement or involuntary detention. You see what I'm saying? So that could be, that's probably, this last one probably includes a police station. Because you can get held in a police station, right? So you probably got these three, right, normally. But like imagine they brought a case in a police station, right?
Mhm.
If you would have never researched or looked up that word, you would have never associated the statute with helping them, right?
Right.
So that's really important for why you should, anything that could mean something else, you should probably look it up. And we can go back to that same statute. You can see F, yeah, right here. And the same thing is going to be in the second part, right? Involuntarily place an individual in segregated confinement, which is the point of the statute, right? Do you think this is defined? Segregated confinement. Let me put the mouse right underneath it, right? This
Yeah.
word right here.
Confinement can be different types of confinement.
Mhm.
You could say we're being confined in this classroom, or like you're being tied, or you're being tied to the ground. That's two different types of confinement.
That's two different types of confinement. Let's look. See, it gets kind of deep. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If you guys are online, let me highlight this too. So like, if we go back to facility, they even define what these mean. So just in case you don't get like messed up on trying to figure out what a detention facility is or what a private detention facility is, they're gonna actually define it. And so here you see segregated confinement. Let me highlight that for the guys on Zoom right here. It means the confinement of an, what is up with this? Okay. It means the confinement of an individual in a cell. You guys can read the whole thing. But it also has multiple. You're gonna see this a couple times. If an element has like elements, part of that element, it's gonna happen a lot. It's gonna make your IRACs longer because you gotta go through each one. But I say it's better, in my opinion, because this makes it easier for you to write. You know, a lot of times in your IRAC, you're trying to figure out what the rule is, right? How do I analyze this rule with the facts? When it's hard is when you don't have a straightforward rule, right? You gotta like, I gotta jump around, try to analyze this, maybe like infer this to use it. If you have this, do you have to really do any thinking? You just like, this was a place, a police station or jail, right? He was in a jail. It's defined right here. It's determined by the time you spend in the cell. What is it? It's all right here for you. So you can analyze using that element, right? The problem comes when it's something like, is anything fully, actually this statute doesn't have anything really like too out of pocket, right? Everything's defined. It's a bill trying to change something, so they're going to define everything so they can change it, right? But if we go back to the office number thing, and actually, okay. You guys still can see the screen or no?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, I can still see it.
Okay, good. All right. So you're gonna have these as the way you read like an actual statute when you're reading it, right? You guys have access to that. You remember your first day of school when you had little outlines, the blank ones? Pull those out. Get those together. We're gonna go through how to like take the rule, or like you're reading a statute, right? So there's gonna be a rule in there. You're gonna learn how to like actually put that rule in your outline and try to like get the elements in like order so you actually can use it.
Sorry.
She put comments in there. This is an earlier document, yeah.
She said, how?
Yeah, she's like explaining like how to find the definitions in that one statute I showed you guys.
Do you need us to have blank versions of these, or is it okay if we just have our old ones?
I can show you what. You should be using a blank one just as an example. You don't have to like.
Listen, I printed out enough for Professor Otero's class, and I said, okay, I don't need no more.
You can like use a piece of paper and like just look at like how it's written, and we can do it like that too. Because I'm gonna go over it with you guys regardless. If I can get rid of this share thing, bro. Okay, what's I do again? That's not what I want to do. Stop. Okay. So this is going to be an example. We're going to look at section C. I wish I could pull it up on this computer too. So, okay, this is legal principle. You guys, let me know if you guys can see it on Zoom too. Do you guys see what I'm highlighting right now? This, oh my God.
Yes, I can see what you're highlighting.
Thank you, Taylor.
You're on mute.
Yeah, me too.
I'm on mute.
Yeah.
Wait, how do they hear me?
You're on mute, but, well, you're on mute on that camera, but I hear you on the other camera.
Do you hear me good? Is
we
it
still hear you
like,
on the other camera.
yeah, okay, that works. Whew. Okay. So you guys see where I highlight legal principle, right? You guys all have the thing up, right? The outline, the blank one. So you see how it starts out with legal principle, right? I know in Professor Otero's class, you write something like battery as like the main issue right there, the legal principle you're attacking at that point in time from Professor Taylor been battery. So here, let me not show you guys the answers.
Would that be under issue?
This is not IRAC. This is for like your outline. Okay, so like,
Wait, so is it not this? Am I looking at the wrong thing?
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
Oh.
brief.
Oh.
I'll show you guys what it looks like. Hold on.
do you have an extra copy of it?
I don't have a copy. I know where it is online.
Oh, it's online on this website, right?
Yeah. Let me try to find it.
You know what else, or you need a copy?
Yeah, I need a
Okay.
Jesus, it's so slow. If you guys ever need an extra one, or like you're trying to find out where they were, they're gonna be right here. Path to success.
Okay.
And then you go right here. Blank outline section. So it's gonna look like that, right?
Oh.
So you guys can just copy this down if you guys want. And you guys see it shared on the screen, right?
Yes, we do see it.
Yeah, no, this- Hey, just let me know when you guys are ready. It's okay. You guys got it down? And this is just the basic way you're gonna write most of your outlines too. So you're gonna have a legal principle. I'm not interrupting you guys from copying this down. It's just, sorry about that. But most things are gonna look like this. You have a little rule. You have the elements. You're gonna explain each element. So like element for like, let's say, what do you guys learn? Attractive nuisance, right?
Yes.
So legal principle would be attractive nuisance doctrine, right? For example, the definition would be a protection for people at risk from the freedoms of a person who owns property, right? Because like if you own a property, technically you're allowed to do whatever you want with it, right? But if you have something dangerous on there, it can infringe on somebody else's right? So that's the reason for the rule is to protect people's freedoms, but to also protect people who are at risk, like children, right? So that'll be your definition. The elements would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Would be like the person, for example, he knows his stuff is dangerous, his property. That would be the element X right here. So the explanation would be the person, owner X, has to know that his property, or he has to reasonably know, or has to be able to know that his property is dangerous. And use an example for like a case. This part, don't make like a whole brief. You put like a paragraph about a case, right? So like the case you guys learned was, what was that case called? Where the kid jumped into the water thing, right?
Oh,
Yes.
So yeah, you just write like, well, let's just say case Doyle. The case is named Doyle, right? You're like, in case Doyle, they said element 1 included the person doesn't just have to know, like he doesn't mean that he has to like actually know his property is dangerous. It should be that he could have reasonable notice that his property is dangerous. So if a reasonable person thought your property is dangerous, even if you didn't think that, it still counts. So it'll be right there. That'll be like an example for the case. So right now, you guys all got this copy down? Or have like an example of it up?
Yes.
I want you guys, let's go down. Okay. And let me know if you guys can't see this. Right here. So you see section C, right? Let me know if you guys can't see it. You guys all see it?
Yes.
Okay. I want you guys to take 3 elements, these first 3, right? Including this top one, and try to fill out an example for that, the blank document, right? This thing. So go to section C. You guys have all this open. You guys can copy from mine too if it's on the screen. So right here, just fill out the little outline thing with this. We're gonna go over that, of like how it works from there. Cause like the statute has like multiple rules in there. This is just one. Let's see.
Where'd you get the brown outline again?
Got you. You want to do it? All right.
Oh, I mean,
It's under a path to success, professional. It's the last one.
So you know that can you get to the main canvas?
Yeah.
Okay, go to the main canvas and then go down to like the first day of the entire program. And then you scroll down to the attachment and look for path to success with Nicole Bloom, sorry.
Okay.
If
So
you look
what
confused, what's
exactly
up?
are we doing?
Okay, so you see, the little blank outline right here.
Yeah, I copied it right here.
Okay, perfect. So I'll go back to section C right now. I want you to try to fill out maybe like 1 or 2 of these elements, right? So yeah, it's C 1, 2, and 3, right?
Okay.
Try to fill this out with that.
So starting at legal
principle, yeah.
Okay.
You probably don't have to worry too much about the definition right now, 'cause like that's for the lawmakers. They're trying to make a law, right? But like at least try to fill out legal principle, the elements, and an explanation for like the element, right? I'll go back to the bill text right now for the guys on Zoom. So these first 3. And it's gonna be a little test because once again, it's up to you to figure out if you know what all this stuff means or not. So it'll be part of like the element definitions and stuff. And whenever you guys are done, just let me know. Or if you need help, let me know too. if you need help, just let me know. And just do like one or two elements. You don't have to go to all the way through.
I have a quick question.
What's up?
So, the legal principle here is segregated confinement, correct?
So looking at this rule right here. Hold on. Let me go down to C. Legal principle for that is what about segregated confinement?
Well, wouldn't that just be the legal principle that we're looking at?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So even though we'll just you guys can just stop right now. I'll just go over the whole thing with you since you got a good question. Okay, so if this wants to work, legal principle, it doesn't have to be a principle. It can be an issue statement or it can be like a rule, right? So if you look here, one of the examples is section C, which is a part of the rule that you guys are reading, right? It lays out 3 mandatory requirements a facility must follow when someone is put in segregated confinement. That's a long way of saying the rule of what you do with the person, right?
Gotcha.
When they're in segregated confinement. So it's not just segregated confinement, it's what you have to do with them, right? So if we go back, so the legal principle should be some type of like order or command or something like that, right? So here, it would be when an individual is placed in segregated confinement, the facility, and this part is pretty much what you're looking for, shall do the following, right? So that's the rule, what they want you to do.
Okay.
So an easier way to say what this example says, which is pretty long, is section C puts out the requirements for when someone's put in segregated confinement or solitary confinement, right? And it's not, this is a pretty deep example. Most of the time you're gonna have like a kid, like for torts, for example, right? You had battery, so the legal principle, you'd pretty much just write battery. There's nothing
Right.
else you'd write in there, right?
Right.
This is a statute, so when you get to statutes, it gets kind of weird, right?
Gotcha.
The case is usually laid out pretty well, but for here, you're just trying to like synthesize, what do I do with these guys in solitary confinement? And we can just keep going from there on. So definition of segregated confinement, where do you think you'd find that?
Well, I found that at the beginning.
At the top,
But I
right?
just wanted to clarify, so
Yeah.
the legal principle won't necessarily be segregated confinement,
Mhm.
even though that's what we would define next.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it gets hard. So the definition would be out of C. Let me just go back to C right quick. So it starts out with when they're placed in segregated confinement. So you would think the legal principle would be that, but technically this part is a legal principle. This part and all the way down would be a legal principle, right?
Oh,
So you
gotcha.
kind of like synthesize. Oh, this rule is telling me what I do with this person that I'm trying to put in there, right? But if you can't define this, you can't do anything.
Right.
So the first step would be what we just talked about, right? When you find something that looks to be important right there, right? Just scroll on up. Scroll on up until you find it right here. If this thing wants to allow me to do it. So it'll be D right here, right? D 1, 2, and 3 will let you know what segregated confinement means to even continue doing what you're doing, right? So when I said like these definitions are gonna be your best friends, there's nothing better than just keep going back up, looking at what the definition is, and going back down. Some people, what they do is they make the flashcards just about definitions instead of like the rule, because the rule is not that hard to remember. You can just remember the segregated confinement word, right? This is the rule for segregated confinement, what to do with it. That's not really important. What's important is like the definition, right? So your flashcards would actually be about this. That would be the actual rule instead of just the word segregated confinement, right? So here you got the definition. I'm not gonna say we're 4:51, so I'm not gonna keep you guys too long. I'll just kind of summarize it. You see the rule here. It's pretty much summarized as how you get them in the cell, how long, and recording the cell, how long, like when they got into the cell, and who it doesn't apply to. So this would be an exception for this, the third part of the thing, right? If you go back, these elements / requirements, right? You remember that part? You would, like I said, statutes are a little bit better than cases in that your elements are really obvious, right? But they're just kind of harder to read. But like you can see it here, they laid it out for you, all of it, right? So requirement 1 would be document the facts and circumstances that led to placing the individuals into segregated confinement. And if you look back to the statute, that's literally word for word, like number 1, right? So it gets easy in the sense that statutes tell you what to do. You don't have to really do a lot of thinking, but when you look at it holistically, right, a statute's a lot harder to read because like there's no court helping you go along that analysis, right? You have to do it yourself, which is why you won't see a lot of statute work in your first year. You're gonna see it maybe in criminal law because there's like a lot of criminal statutes, but those are written better than this. Those are written like you can't do this. This is
Okay,
something
so they're more
states it.
instructional.
Yeah. But yeah, see, document the facts, circumstances. So what do you think element 2 would be?
Document the date and time.
Exactly. So you just go right back down. Document the date and time, individuals placed into segregated confinement. And let's look.
And that's the second element?
That's the second element. So requirement 2 right here, document the date and time. And you just keep going. Right now I only told you like 1 or 2 or 3, right? So you see I have a 3 right here. That'll be the 3 right here. But you see how it goes down to like 9, right? So once you actually read a statute, all 9 are going to be important. But if you look right here, they literally tell you how detailed it is. Like they're talking about like shackles, the cuffs, what kind of cuffs you got to use, the programming, all that. So like it's important in statutes that they literally list everything. So the person who's actually implementing the law can't be wishy-washy with it, right?
Right.
So here in this one especially, they're trying to protect prisoners, right? So they want to be able to like, I want this right for them. So I want this to be enumerated as clearly as possible, which is why statutes have to be like objectively instructional, basically, with every single element. But yeah, if you go,
Question.
yeah, go ahead.
So, the elements, are we like writing them next to each other, or is this like a whole nother paragraph? Like you see where it says elements and requirements?
Yeah, right
So
here.
would it be like, okay, never mind. It all
Go
just-
ahead, no.
No. Cause I see where it says like requirement 1, requirement 2, that's
Oh,
where I'm just getting confused,
yeah.
where, like, were we writing it together as like one sentence, or we're separating it, so thank you.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, I will say this from all of you guys' like practice exams, right? A couple of you guys, not you guys here or anything like that, but like you guys general as in the PLSI Clio thing, right? When you're doing a rule statement, right? I'll just give you a heads up for IRAC. Right? You want to clearly separate out each part, right? So when you do an issue, you want to clearly say the issue is the issue is dot dot dot, and you should technically keep that away from your whole other section of your work, right? So you'd be like this, and you'll have like a space, like a paragraph space. Your rule, you wanna, I saw it in a lot of the PLSI people, just make a whole rule statement. Just all the rules, don't put any facts in there, don't put any like analysis in there, don't connect it to your analysis. Just straight up be like, here, I would write literally, let me scroll up a little bit. You see where it says legal principle, right? You would straight up copy and paste this. Let me highlight it for you guys, Zoom. You'd literally copy and paste that and everything below it, right? You say section C lays out this, that's the rule you're using, right? And these would be the elements. Almost done, right? So you copy and paste all the objective rule, the elements underneath it into its entire own section right here, right? And don't add any facts, because that's where a lot of, a lot of teachers hate that. I'll let you guys know that right now. They don't like seeing any facts in their rules, because they're gonna be like, you already kind of ruined it, right? It's supposed to be objective. So, for example, I use this one, the one we just, okay, scroll all the way down. I love this computer. It'd be section C, right? So section C is a rule. Then you talk about requirement 1. And requirement 1 listed out. Then, when you go to your analysis part, every single element or requirement, you want to start with that again. Requirement 1 requires or wants you or forces you to, forces the facilities is the main thing, right? Requirement 1 forces the facility to do, what does requirement 1 say? Document the facts. So you say it requires the facility to document facts. Document, dot, dot, dot. And you say, here, in this case, the thing IRAC you're doing right now, whatever facts are related to that, you list them out, right? And then from there on, you're gonna like just combine them. So it's kind of like more complicated than what Professor Otero was saying, but like let's just say you're in a facility, right? And you're against this statute, right? So you're gonna say it requires them to do that. Here, the person did not document anything, right? So he didn't document the fact, he didn't document when they got in there, when they put them in there, the process. So that's helping your case, but it's against the rule, right? So you write all of that, and then you say for your conclusion, because you have to have a miniature conclusion in there, you have to say, so therefore, because the rule requires this, and they didn't do that, which seems so, I know it seems like weird, and you're rewriting something you already know, right? That's where you get the most points, is that little conclusion part. Because they don't care about if you just list the facts and the rule again. They already know that, right? It's just you comparing, contrasting the case and the rules that actually happen, right?
Okay. So basically, what kind of work? Because you said comparing, contrasting. So basically, you're just contrasting with how the situation is, what happened from how the rule says
How
it.
the rule says it is. It
Okay.
seems like obvious, but go ahead.
In the conclusion?
No, this is analysis.
Okay,
Like conclusion is gonna be one sentence.
okay.
Just one sentence. And it's gonna be basically whatever your issue was, you're just answering it. So if you're the
In the analysis, you're gonna pretty much go over each element and discuss whether it's, the element was satisfied with the facts
with the facts.
for each element.
For
Like
each
there's- you mentioned attractive nuisance, right? So
Yeah.
that has 5 elements,
Mhm.
so then you would go over the 5 of the elements separately in
In the analysis. Yep.
and make a conclusion for each element.
Yeah, small conclusion for each element. That won't count as a conclusion though.
Just the conclusion
It's
for
gonna
that
be
element.
it's gonna be part of your analysis.
Right.
Yeah, that's the main part of your analysis. You're making a conclusion about the rule. So that's the main point. So here, if your issue was whether or not the facility it's followed statute C, right? For our example, they didn't, right? So you'd be like, so therefore, they did not follow statute C. Your conclusion would be, they cannot recover for this,
Okay.
or something like that. In conclusion, they cannot recover. I always add in conclusion. Professors love that. They'll give you more points for it.
Just putting in conclusion, in the
Literally,
conclusion.
they'll like you better for putting in conclusion in there. A
That's
lot of
good
people,
to
what they
know.
do is they just write, like, you're gonna have like 10-page tests, right? So if you just see like a block of text the whole way, right? Are you gonna like that? No, right? The teacher doesn't like that either. So if you clearly like delineate every single step, just by organization, it'll give you more points. So it's a good thing to remember that they use this for a reason. They like when people follow it, and they like when you separate them out.
And then whenever, in the analysis, whenever you're discussing each element, once you move on to the next element, then you have to pretty much, it's like another mini paragraph or.
I won't tell you to do that, but like I do that, right?
Okay.
And a lot of people do that. Some people they like make their analysis part just one big paragraph, right? And they separate everything else. That still works. I will say if you have like a neat freak professor or like a professor who's like really into legal writing, they're gonna dock you points off for doing that. Yeah, but you normally won't get that a lot. Like Tom Cobb up there, I think he's a legal writing professor. So someone like him, he probably would be like, I want you to separate them all into different paragraphs. But like most of my professors that I've had, they're all like, whatever. Just write.
One big.
Yeah, just write it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it depends. You'll notice it immediately because most of them give you assignments like almost immediately in the class, right? They're just gonna test to see your writing skills and what you're doing. In every class, like torts, crim law, it's not gonna be graded though. It's just gonna be like, write about this statute I just told you guys to read last night, right? So you write like, I think one of your assignments running for common law, right, is like, read an amendment, which we were supposed to do, but you guys didn't go over. So it's like, there's no point in doing, right? But like, you're gonna read that amendment, you're gonna do like a little statutory thing, because technically the amendment is like a statute, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just gonna read it, try to define each word you want, and from there on you're just gonna go. But yeah, it's 5:01. I'm not gonna keep you guys for any longer, but
When we have, Chance, could you email me like an example of,
what's up?
really good Iraq?
Yeah, 100%. You guys all want that?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. I'll give it to everybody.
And then when will our practice exam feedback get back to us? Sorry, that was
Should be
a long
tomorrow.
word.
No, you're good, 100%. Should be tomorrow.
Okay.
I think we're all done the TAs, but like we have to get we give feedback, but like the professors are obviously in charge of grading, right? So they're gonna go over and actually grade it too. So you guys will get that. I think tomorrow night should be.
Okay.
Other than that, normally when we grade, you get it in like a day. But this was like an exam, so they spread it out a little bit. Okay. And people online, you guys want me to send you? You guys want me to send you the example too?
Yes, please, I don't know.
I'll send you guys all the examples. Let me write this down in my notes.
Yes, please.
Got you.
Thank you.
Yep. Bro, my camera doesn't work in this class.
Also, you can send it to Sandy. She was having problems with her computer, so she wasn't able to be.
100%, no problem. I should have recorded. I don't have a camera to record.
I recorded it for
You
her.
recorded it?
Yes, for her.
No problem.